What are 5 things every pilot should be doing to fly safer? What are some of those things? Listen, guys, it is such a blessing, such an opportunity to have you guys all on this call tonight. I know for some of my East Coast guys, it's a little bit late. I know some of my West Coast guys I was just chatting with or getting off work and driving home and listening in the car. And just your commitment and dedication to being that safer pilot is huge. And I am just blown away at the attendance and all of you who are here. We're definitely going to max out. GoToWebinar only allows me to have 1,000 people on at a time. So good thing you guys got on early, because we are on pace here to certainly max that out. Guys, this is the kind of webinar where whether you're a student pilot, maybe you're just checking this aviation thing out, or maybe you're a flight instructor or an airline transport pilot, I guarantee and promise you, you're going to walk away with some great bit of advice. So I encourage you to have pen, paper. You're going to want to take some notes, nice comfy chair, something to drink. I promise I won't monopolize any more of your time. 30 minutes of great, solid content. Then, of course, as we do with every webinar, our online ground school members know this, I'll open it up for questions, and it's a chance to interact with myself and the team. Speaking of that great MzeroA.com team, some of those are on this call tonight. My beautiful wife, Ashley, world famous Uncle Larry, he's the little one. He's about the same height as Ella and the same height as Ariel Tweedo there. So just for some comparison, there's my head, there's Larry's head. You can imagine when we fly together, it's interesting. And Matt is also on this call. That was my one Larry joke for the night. I'm only allowed one per webinar or seminar. They're on there, and how you communicate with myself, Ashley, Larry, Matt, you communicate using that handy dandy GoToWebinar control panel underneath the questions tab. You can type in your questions there and say, hi, Larry, hi, Matt, hi, Ashley, or any questions you have. I'll be able to see them. I'll be doing most of the talking, though, so those guys will help with questions. Then I'll be able to see some of those questions towards the end that they weren't able to answer. If you're on the iPad, Android app, whatever it may be, tap that question mark. You can type in your question that way. But be sure to say hi to all of those guys. So that is the team. This is actually us at our booth in Oshkosh. If you haven't had a chance to come by and see us at Sun and Fun or Oshkosh, we'll be at the Sebring Light Sport Expo coming up at the end of this month. We've got a large, every year we do something called the Good Pilot Tour. We're going to be coming to a city near you, as well as the movie Flying Again is going to be coming to a city near you as well. So be watching for that. Be traveling with this great team here. It was really through you guys and through this great team, we were able to be named AOPA's Outstanding Flight Instructor 2014. And for those of you who've already received your AOPA magazine this month, you know we nailed it back to back. Outstanding Flight Instructor according to AOPA 2014 and 2015. That's the top 1% of flight instructors in the country. So just very blessed for, first off, your votes and really working to make that happen. And it goes to show you that we're really on to something here with this MzeroA.com thing. And the model of just kind of loving on you guys has really grown to now doing webinars to a maxed out crowd of 1,000, and just sharing the good word of aviation. Most importantly, sharing what we're going to talk about tonight, which is, 5 ways that we can make our next flight the best. 5 things we should always be doing each and every flight. Of course, it wouldn't be possible without that team. The team was never this big. The team actually just started out with just Ashley and I. We started out from our small little 2-bedroom apartment, making just one little video a day. You'd get like 20 views, and I would think, geez, is anybody really gonna watch this? Or what are we doing? But we just helped one pilot. And next time we help 2 pilots, and it's just continued to grow, and it's because of you guys. We're so thankful for that. This picture, by the way, I shared all my seminars. These are the dogs, Pedo and Magneto, and the goats are Prop, Rudder, and Strut. So As you can imagine, the full aviation themed household. Of course, just had Ella's 14 months old now. Baby Ella, who everyone was originally disappointed. They said, why didn't Ella get an aviation name? If it was a boy, it was going to be Bernoulli, I would joke. But Uncle Larry, world famous Uncle Larry, came up and said, Jason, calling her Ella is so genius because we can call her Ella Vader. And it sticks with your aviation theme. So when you run into Baby Elevator at Sun and Fun or Oshkosh or Sebring or the Good Pilot Tour or any Flying Again screening, I'm sure, when she knows what you're talking about, I'm sure she'll be embarrassed. But none of it's possible without our great team here at MzeroA.com. Up to now 10 books, I want to say, and of course, the Flying Again movie. So if you haven't seen Flying Again, the movie, it is, I have a strong bias, but I believe we're 10 out of 10 stars on IMDb right now. We're working on getting it literally in a theater near you, AMC, Regal, Landmark Theaters. It's going to be Aviation to the mainstream media. We have, in the short time it's been out, we've moved a hair over 1,000 DVDs. So things are really moving. We are just so excited about this, really making an impact. FlyingAgainMovie.com for those of you that want to check that out. Private Pilot Blueprint for our aspiring aviators. These are books we gave out 2015 alone, correct me if I'm wrong, Ashley, but I want to say near 5,000 copies of the Private Pilot Blueprint were actually given out for free to aspiring pilots to try to grow that pilot population. So we're trying to do a lot here at MzeroA.com. Of course, world famous Uncle Larry and his book. By the way, if you have any aviation medical questions, Larry is that guy to go to. And of course, this led to us having our #1 rated online ground school that you guys can check out and see there. Some great screenshots, some pictures of that available on mobile. And listen, if you enjoy these types of webinars, well, you're going to really love it because every Monday night we do a webinar just like this, a little bit more, a smaller group, more intimate type group to really chat and talk with everybody. We do this every Monday night for our online ground school members. So it is very, very cool stuff. Let's dive into our topic tonight, which is 5 things I personally believe every pilot should be doing. 5 things every pilot should be doing. Note takers, please be ready to write this sort of stuff down. We're going to dive right into it, and each one's going to have a great explanation. The first is this: experience the weather. What do I mean when I say experience the weather? What I want you to do is, I don't mean let's go blazing out into all sorts of crazy conditions. That's not even close to what I mean. When I say experience the weather, this is what I mean. And here is your first challenge. Online ground school members know me as this type of guy, the one to present challenges to you, the one to give you some homework, the one to make you think a little bit outside of the box. I challenge you to read a METAR every single day. Maybe it's when you wake up. Maybe it's before you go to bed. Maybe it's on your lunch break at work. It really doesn't matter. But I challenge you to read a METAR every day, then walk outside and experience it. So when I read a METAR that says, oh, winds 040 at 10 and 6 miles of visibility. Okay, great. It's one thing to read it. It's another thing to walk outside and go, oh, that's what 10 knots of wind feels like. That's what 6 statute miles of visibility looks like on the ground. Or my favorite, oh, we see broken clouds at 2,200 feet. Walk outside and look up and say, that is what clouds at 2,200 feet look like. A broken layer. That's what a broken layer looks like as well. You will get so good and be able to impress your friends, not that that's important, but by walking outside and going, yeah, I think those clouds are about 1,500 feet. Looks like a broken, maybe about to be an overcast layer here soon. Experience the weather. Read that METAR each and every day, and then walk outside and experience it. Because it's one thing to simply just read a METAR, but how can we then apply it, experience it? Because if you're just flying once a month, you're reading a METAR once a month and experiencing it in the air once a month. This is my challenge to you. Walk outside and experience that METAR you're going to read each and every day. Second thing I believe every pilot should be doing. Ground school members, you're going to say, Jason, I've heard you say this a million times. It's truly that important. Have hard set personal minimum numbers. What do I mean by that? Well, it ties in beautifully with what we just spoke about. Reading a METAR each and every day. Now, I want to step it up a notch. I'm going to read my METAR each and every day. I'm going to step outside and I'm going to experience it. And then I'm going to make a go or no-go decision just fictitiously in my head to start the aeronautical decision-making process. So I can then get good at that process. And here's how I set up when I say hard set personal minimum numbers. I will not go flying if the clouds. Notice I didn't say ceiling, I said clouds. Scattered, few, broken, overcast, it doesn't matter. The word is clouds. I will not go flying if the clouds are lower than blank. I will not go flying if the visibility is less than blank. And I will not go flying if the winds are greater than blank. What numbers make sense for you in here? Keeping in mind, these numbers are going to change. Are you the sole pilot on board? Are you flying with another pilot? Are you current in that aircraft? When's the last time you flew? Are you just current and you're not proficient? Do you have a non-flying friend or spouse on board? These are things to really consider. But the reason I say have hard set numbers is this. Because if I say I will not go flying when the clouds are lower than 1,700 feet, I can read a METAR, and if it says scattered clouds 1,600 feet, guess what? I just read the METAR, and the METAR made the decision for me. It's that simple. I'm not going flying. Aeronautical decision making gets so much easier when you have these hard set personal minimum numbers. I will not go flying if the visibility is less than 6 statute miles. I will not go flying if the winds are greater than 12 knots. What you're looking at are my personal minimums when flying with Ashley and Ella. These are my personal minimum numbers. Now, if I'm flying with Larry or Matt, another experienced instrument pilot, these will adjust a little bit here. But the reason I chose 1,700 feet, I'm mostly flying around sea level out here, and 1,700 feet is the majority of final approach fixes where I would intercept my glide slope on an approach. And that's why I set it there. Because I don't need to be shooting an approach down to minimums with my wife and 14-month-old daughter on board. It's not a good idea. I'll take them in IFR conditions, but I'd like to break out by the final approach fix at least, because the workload just doubled when you add the glide slope to the equation now and slowing the airplane down. And it gets more and more intense the closer and closer you get, etc. That's why that number's there. 6 statute miles, 12 knots. Ella actually likes bumps. She's like, have you ever seen that the video of the little French girl in the back doing aerobatics that went all over YouTube for a while? That's going to be Ella in like 9-10 months, no doubt. She loves the bumps. But I will not go flying in these conditions, less than these conditions, because I have hard set personal minimum numbers. It is so crucial, so important. So I'm adding to your homework now. What are your hard set personal minimum numbers? These are Jason's. So I would hope that yours would be a hair bit higher than this because, let me share with you where people really screw up. And then I'll go to the next slide. I like to ramble sometimes. I'll get on a tangent here, but let me share with you where people really screw up. It's on this middle bullet point, the visibility. Have you ever flown in 6 statute miles of visibility? If you have, you know what I'm about to say, that it's not a lot of forward visibility. We get so spoiled sometimes when we read a METAR and it says visibility 10. Well, the visibility could be 10 or the visibility could be unlimited. A METAR only tells us up to 10 statute miles of visibility. Yet, have you ever flown in exactly 10 statute miles or 9 statute miles of visibility? It's not a lot of forward visibility. And maybe you're going to upgrade like our buddy Jeff one day to a Cirrus and your ground speed is 135, 140 knots. 10 statute miles of visibility traveling that fast doesn't let you see very far forward. I mean, you're covering that ground so quickly. It's so difficult. TAFs are even worse because what does a TAF stand for? Terminal Aerodrome Forecast. Well, the definition of a terminal aerodrome is 6 statute miles. That is why a TAF only forecasts greater than 6 statute miles. So the visibility could be 7 or it could be unlimited. We don't know because it only shows greater than 6. These are the kinds of things you need to learn to watch for. And if you ever fly in visibility less than 10, especially as a low-hour pilot, I guarantee you're going to scare yourself a little bit and you're going to raise those personal minimums and respect things like visibility a little bit more. Because visibility is one of those things that can change like that. It's good one moment and you get 1 little degree of difference in the temperature and dew point. They get just 1 degree closer and it can drop 3 to 4 miles in visibility like it's nothing. And it'll happen over a 15-minute time frame when you're hurtling through the air at 130 knots. This is one area I'd be careful with, is that visibility one, because that one sneaks up on people. Personal minimums. Just to recap, experience the weather, read a METAR every day, walk outside and experience it. Then make a go or no-go decision fictitiously using your hard set personal minimums that we're setting here together tonight. And then the third thing that I believe every pilot should be doing is this. And this is a huge one. And I would argue that these are in order of importance in a way. They're all very, very important, but they're getting better and better and more important the further we go. The third is this. Challenge yourself with a friend or an aviation mentor. If you do not have a mentor or a friend in aviation, you need to find one fast. This is one of the big differentiating factors and why our online ground school has been so successful is because you can pick up the phone and Jason, Ashley, Matt, or Larry, or someone's going to answer. You're going to talk to one of us. We're going to email you and say, hey, how's that written test coming? Hey, how's that? I noticed the quizzes aren't doing so hot in there. You've been getting the 70s. What do we got to do to get you getting in the 80s and the 90s and getting better scores on that written? How's that medical process coming? You need a friend or an aviation mentor of some sort. Things like landing contests. If you follow us on Periscope, you'll know just, what was it, yesterday? Matt, Scott, and we booted up the simulator and did a landing contest on the simulator. Matt and I went flying the other day and did a little landing contest. Matt made me sit in the left seat, so it'd be of some sort of handicap for him, so he says. Of course, I've got over 9,000 hours in the right seat, so sitting in the left seat is pretty weird at that point. But go up with a friend and have a landing contest. Say, listen, I'll do a landing, you do a landing. Let's see who can get the closest to hitting the beginning of the first center line stripe. Make flying fun again in that mentorship, in that friendship. It adds accountability to what you're doing because you need accountability. Would you believe that 80% of individuals who take a discovery flight, this is a discovery flight they paid for, never take a lesson after that? Even crazier, 60% of individuals who take and pass their written test never complete their certificate. How can 60% of written tests never turn into pilot certificates? That is mind-boggling to me. We need more accountability. And unfortunately, unless you're in a ground school like ours, or maybe you're a member of a flying club or an EAA chapter, you're not going to get that. You have to go find it on your own. Maybe your instructor will be that person for you. Or maybe that same friend who helped you get into aviation. Or maybe one of us here will be that friend to help hold you accountable. But we need accountability in aviation. You can join a flying club, an EAA chapter, instrument pilot guys. Look at an IMC club. There are so many great aviation organizations that we can join with grassroots fly-ins. Look at what AOPA is doing all around the country with these small little fly-ins. I mean, small 2,000 people. But you get a chance to hang out with Mark Baker, and he's running around in a t-shirt and flip-flops just like he's one of the guys, and he's the president of AOPA. You know, this is cool stuff, and we need to start taking advantage of those sort of things. So consider joining a flying club or an EAA chapter, attending some of these fly-ins. But most importantly, you need to develop a reason to fly. Throughout making the movie Flying Again, one of the resounding themes were aviators losing their purpose or their reason to fly. If you've seen the film, Rich Ayat, who's in the film, said, one day my wife just looked at me and said, I don't think I want to fly anymore. But he and his wife flying to go see the kids was the reason he learned to fly in the first place. And he lost his reason. You need to find your reason, find a way to keep it and foster it. Maybe you have a few reasons to fly. Maybe angel flight is that reason. Maybe like Larry does pilots in pause, or Operation Good Cheer where he flies Christmas presents to kids. Develop a reason to fly, otherwise you won't do it. But you need that sort of mentorship. And maybe you get it from an online ground school like ours, and a friendship we can build that way. Or maybe you get it from a flying club, an EAA chapter, friends you meet at a fly-in, or your flight instructor. I don't care how you get it, but you need to develop that mentorship and find that. That is so very important here. Next tip. You ready for it? This is straight out of world famous Uncle Larry's book. Create a proficiency syllabus for yourself. Create a proficiency syllabus for yourself. What do I mean by this? Again, if you've seen the movie, and this isn't a big pitch for the movie, it's just all these themes are so intertwined in the movie. One thing Larry talks about in the movie is CFIs can even get rusty. So don't feel like as a student pilot and you fall off, a month goes by without a lesson. This happens to CFIs too. So one thing Larry does is he creates what he calls his proficiency syllabus for himself. And every month he picks something to focus on. He picks something to do. 1 month, it's landings. Next time, it's flight maneuvers. Next time, it's cross-country diversions. It doesn't matter. But he makes a syllabus and says, I'm going to do a short field, a soft field, and a crosswind landing. And I'm going to focus on those. I'm going to do those till I get them right. And he rents the airplane on his own dime and goes up and does these things. I've seen as far as, and this is kind of something we've adopted here at MzeroA.com, is that if you work for MzeroA, here's the keys to 59 Quebec, the plane you guys see in all the videos, that the guys can just go fly. We've got to stay proficient. We've got to stay current. We've got to create a personal syllabus for ourselves. So continuing to challenge you, because hopefully I'm going to be one of those aviation mentors for you, whether it be on a one-on-one level or just distance through YouTube. It doesn't matter. But I'm always going to challenge you with things. So here's your challenge. What can you work on this month? It's still the beginning of the month. We got 3 weeks left in this month. What is going to be your January focus? Maybe it's, I'm going to really lock down and commit to that written test. Or maybe you're already a pilot and I'm going to go out, and Jeff says, I'm going to go shoot 3 approaches at a different airport that I've never shot before. Jeff, we talked about that on a previous webinar for the ground school members, that it's easy to get in a groove. Like I could shoot the ILS 3.6 at Ocala without needing an approach plate because I've shot it so many times, kind of thing. You don't want to get that level of complacency. So take these landings that you're going to do and go do them in another airport. What is your personal syllabus? What is your focus? Maybe you made a great big 2016 flying goal, and I applaud you for that. That's amazing. But let's break it down to the macro type level and say, what can I do on a month-to-month basis? What can I do this month to get me to that goal? Let's nail the written test. Let's get all these medical issues figured out. I need to talk with world famous Uncle Larry because I'm taking this medication and I need something else. I got to be doing something else. What can I be doing? Larry's your guy to talk to about that, by the way. What can we be doing? It's check ride time. I'm buckling down, I'm getting that check ride done. I'm finally starting my instrument training. I'm going to stay proficient. I'm going to go do those approaches like Jason said. I'm going to fly more. Whatever it is, create your personal syllabus. And this ties back into the previous one, which is developing a reason to fly. I do angel flight. You can do pilots and pause. You can say, okay, great. I'm doing this and I'm going to do my personal syllabus. If you do an angel flight a month and your personal syllabus a month, you're already doing a lot more than probably 75% of the general aviation population, unfortunately. But you need to create your personal syllabus. It's so very important. Grab a sip of tea here real quick. What are you going to do this month to make this month the start of your proficiency? Because there's such a stark difference between being a current pilot. Currency says 3 takeoffs and landings to carry passenger. Currency says I did my BFR. Don't be like some of my clients who I only see every 24 calendar months when they want a BFR. And I was the last entry in their logbook, which was their BFR. And they're just current. They're not proficient. This, what I'm sharing with you tonight, is how you get proficient. That's why there's such a difference between currency and proficiency. Fifth, final thing, then we'll wrap this up and I'll take questions that you guys may have. And probably, I would argue the most important if I had to take a stab at it. Fifth and final thing for my note takers here. Learn everything you can on the ground. I know if you've been a fan of MzeroA.com for any amount of time, you've heard me say this before. You've read the Private Pilot Blueprint. You've heard me say this before. But let me twist it in a way and say it in a way that you probably have never heard it before, because remember, this webinar is meant to appeal to the student pilot on the fence and wanting to start flight lessons and the flight instructor and everybody in between. So even though you're not pursuing a rating, well, you're still on this webinar, so you're learning everything you can on the ground. Just because you're on this webinar, that tells me you're a pretty darn good pilot, because you took time out of your Thursday night to hang out with myself and Larry and Matt and Ashley and learn something about aviation. And nothing is cooler than that. So you can almost check this one off. But let's talk about it a little bit further and see how we can kind of really take it up a notch. Learn everything you can on the ground, because 1 hour on the ground, I promise you, any of my online ground school members can attest to this. 1 hour on the ground will save you 2 hours in the air. My good friend Eric Crump, who runs the Polk State Aviation program at Polk State College, once said, "The airplane is a terrible classroom. It is hot, it is stinky, and you're hurtling through the air at 110 knots. It's hard to teach things in the airplane." You see, the airplane is meant for demonstrating your skills. So back to my previous point that says, create a proficiency syllabus for yourself every month. That doesn't just mean, Larry just doesn't go, okay, today I'm gonna do crosswind, short field, soft field landings, and then just go do them. Larry will say, I'm doing those 3 landings, and sit on the ground and learn everything he can and watch videos and take in all the information he can on the ground first and then go demonstrate those. Larry's a CFII, plus he's a doctor, as if he has time to do all this stuff. Larry gets to the hospital at 6 a.m. and I usually can't get a hold of him until about 7 p.m. when he gets home. He works a 12-hour day at the hospital and still finds time to be a proficient pilot and instructor. 1 hour on the ground saves you 2 hours in the air. If someone like Larry can find time to do things on the ground, we can all find time to do things on the ground. Chair fly these maneuvers. Jeff, I just challenged you to go out and shoot 3 new approaches at 3 new airports. Let's go chair fly those approaches. Let's sit on the big comfy couch out in Hilton Head and let's go and study those approach plates on ForeFlight, whatever it may be. Listen to your radios and practice your radio calls. Use liveatc.net. Go buy a handheld radio. You can be a real, aviation nerd like myself and drive to the airport with your handheld radio on, or drive around town with your handheld radio on, just listening to the approach controller, listening to your local tower, whatever may be happening in that area. You struggle with radios, start listening. That's where it really starts to fall into place for you. Get that written test done. Who, by simply just typing in me, you can just type in me in the GoToWebinar control panel, who on here knows what I'm talking about when I say the written test can be the monkey on your back? Maybe you're ready to solo, but your instructor won't because you haven't done the written test. Maybe you're ready for your check ride, but you can't take it because you haven't done your written test. And that written test is that monkey on your back, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I just need to get this thing done. How do I commit and find the time to get that done? Maybe that is your January proficiency lesson there to knock that out. And there are a ton of me's coming in and a few this guys. We can all fall into that boat sometimes. Get that written test done. Complete a ground school. Knock out your private pilot, your instrument pilot, your commercial pilot ground school, whatever it may be for you. And most importantly, never stop learning. We end every video, we end every webinar with a good pilot is always learning. And it's more than just a cute little phrase that we trademarked here at MzeroA.com. It's something we personally live by each and every day. And I hope you guys do that exact same thing. Never stop learning. It's so, so important. That being said, guys, I want to share with you a method to help you check all 5 of these boxes. Whether you're an aspiring student pilot, or maybe you're an accomplished CFI or an accomplished instrument pilot like some of my friends on here, aspiring commercial pilot, whatever it may be, let me help you check all 5 of those boxes, especially the mentorship box, because I want to help you out in that department. Now, I am only doing this once for the entire year of 2016. I've done this before in 2015. I am only doing this once in 2016, and it is the month of January. There's a few of you on this call. I said, wait, don't buy any MzeroA.com products, please. Let me make this announcement here first, because I'm only doing this once. So from today to January 31st, and I will not make, what I'm about to tell you will not happen again in 2016. For those of you that become either an online ground school, bronze, silver, gold, or even a Pilot's Inner Circle member. Pilot's Inner Circle members, that's geared towards someone like Jeff. Jeff is an accomplished instrument pilot that wants to live out that good pilot is always learning mantra. He wants the webinars every Monday night and some great, other great private training videos we don't release out to YouTube. They're just for our members. And then bronze, silver, gold are our different levels of ground school membership for private instrument and almost commercial pilot. More on that here in a second. For those of you who sign up for any of those 4 levels of membership, I am giving away all of our books. Pass Your Private Pilot Check Ride, ebook, audiobook. Pass Your Instrument Pilot Check Ride, ebook, audiobook. Fireman in Plain English, In-Flight Emergencies, Larry's book, Secret of Perfect Landings. Our versions of the Airplane Flying Handbook, Pilot's Handbook of Aeronautical Knowledge, Aviation Acronyms, and a few others that are not pictured here. If you added all these books to your shopping cart now at MzeroA.com, it'd be over $300 to buy all of those books. But if you become a member, gold, silver, bronze, or even Pilot's Inner Circle, all those books will be yours absolutely free. Again, I am only doing this until January 31st, and this offer goes away. I will not bring it out again in the year 2016. groundschoolacademy.com, just like you see on the top there. You can go to that now. You can click join now, enroll, whatever it may be, and get signed up. And I will send you those books over tonight to start downloading as ebooks. Get them on your iPad, print them out, whatever you want to do with them, they are yours. Get the audiobooks on your iPhone so you can be listening to the Past Your Private Pilot Check Ride audiobook while you're walking the dog, at the gym, on your commute to work. I ask a question, I pause for a second, let you think about the answer in your head, then I give you the correct answer. It is awesome. Online Ground School Gold members not only get our FAA approved 61-141 Ground School video shot in 4K HD video, you get unlimited FAA written test practice tests. I will and can endorse you for your FAA written. And listen, if you liked these webinars, guys, we do these webinars every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time live. A chance, and it's a much smaller group, a chance to interact with myself and this team here at MzeroA.com and be that mentor and ask your questions. We do questions from buying an airplane to just starting out and everything in between. I present on a topic just like I did tonight, and then I open it up for your questions. It is really a great opportunity for that. So I do weekly webinars, and I do a mock check ride every single month just for my gold members and for my Pilots Inner Circle members. Gold members also get access to, this is huge, if the written test is a monkey on your back, you get access to our FAA written test prep boot camp. It is 12 videos exclusively geared to just that, your FAA written test. When I first offered that course, I sold it as the cost of the course is the price you want to get on the written. If you want to get 100, the course is $100. If you don't get within 5 points of that score, I'll refund your money. Out of thousands sold, I've given 2 refunds. They passed, they just didn't get within 5 points. One was 6 points off, one was, I think, 7 points off of what they actually wanted. The FAA written boot camp is huge. It works. It's for private and instrument pilot. You get that MzeroA mentorship like we talked about, most importantly. A chance to interact with myself and this great team here at MzeroA.com via email, on the phone, and every single Monday night on the live webinars, or you can always catch the recordings. And as a gold member, you get the craziest guarantee in the industry, which is the pass your check ride or I'll pay for it guarantee. In 6, almost 7 years of having that offer, 2 people have taken me up on that offer. We have a crazy success rate with check rides and with written tests because we teach it 3 ways. Yes, I'll tell you, pay attention, Phil, this is on your written test. Pay attention, Jeff, this will be on your check ride. But most importantly, Brett, this is going to make you a safe real-world pilot. We break it down those 3 categories because being a safe real-world pilot is what's most important to me, certainly. So gold, silver, bronze, you can get signed up. And Pilot's Inner Circle is for maybe you're a private pilot. You're not quite ready to start your instrument yet, but you want to live out that good pilot is always learning mantra. It's an opportunity to be on the webinars with me every Monday night. Webinars and the mock check rides. It's an opportunity that something new we're doing now is the exclusive PIC monthly teaching, where I'm doing an exclusive video, sending it out to all the PIC and gold members, sending it out to those guys, and then we open up a discussion, say, what could this pilot have done better? What can we learn from this accident? How can we take this a step further? That's part of the Pilot's Inner Circle, is what PIC stands for in this case, the Pilot's Inner Circle membership. Maybe you're like Jeff, who's been a Pilot's Inner Circle member for a long time, an instrument pilot who lives out that good pilot is always learning mantra, is faithfully on the webinars every Monday night. It gives that sort of accountability. You know, one thing my mentor said to me, and I don't know if he's on this webinar or not, there's too many names to scroll through to see, but my mentor's name is Tim Broom. And one thing Tim said to me, he's not only one of my aviation mentors, but certainly a great business mentor. He said to me, he said, Jason, why isn't every pilot a Pilot's Inner Circle member? I said, at that price point, Tim, they absolutely should be. How can we live out that a good pilot is always learning? How can we be their mentor, provide these webinars for them, provide these monthly teachings for them, and help them continue to learn? There's wings credit seminars in there. There's so much great stuff. And at that price point, and now, well, to help do what Tim told me to do, to make every single person at least a Pilots Inner Circle member, we're making that crazy offer that when you join the online ground school, the Pilots Inner Circle, you get access to all those books absolutely free. I will send those out to you. In fact, for those of you that have already signed up and are probably just eager, Jason, I want to get those books. Once you get your login information, if you go to groundschoolacademy.com/books, groundschoolacademy.com/books, you can actually just download all those right now. So you don't even need our help with that. Of course, we're standing by in GoToWebinar right now in our regular support system to help you guys out with that. So once you have your login, your username and password, go to groundschoolacademy.com/books. Once you're logged in, start that download. It's a very large file. So be ready for that. You need to unzip the file, and then from there you can take the MP3s to your whatever device you want to listen to them on, the PDFs. You can print them, put them on the iPad, whatever you need to do. groundschoolacademy.com/books. And to get signed up, I'll bring that back up so you can see it. groundschoolacademy.com. Become a gold, silver, bronze, or Pilots Inner Circle member, whichever is best suited for you and where you're at in aviation right now. groundschoolacademy.com to check that. Again, guys, this offer, this is the only time I will make this offer in all of 2016. January 31st, I will, that's it. If you, and by the way, listening to this, if you are a current member and you are listening to this, go to that same URL. Those books are yours just as much as they are the new members. This is my late Christmas gift to you guys, to reward you guys, and to help you further live out that good pilot is always learning mantra. So groundschoolacademy.com/books for my current members to take action on that and get all those in ebook format as well. But that link expires January 31st. So become a member today, guys. It will benefit you greatly, and you are a blessing to us, and let us be a blessing to you. So that being said, I want to now open it up for questions. Any questions you guys have, now is your chance to ask them. Let me pull up my handy dandy GoToWebinar control panel now, and let's see that. By the way, I just got blown up with Periscope notifications. I mentioned about I did a Periscope of us on the simulator, and apparently everybody on this webinar with Periscope started following me. I got like 50 Periscope follow alerts. That's funny. Cool. Guys, I'm going to dive into your, gosh, there's a ton of questions. Listen, let me preface it with this. There are a lot of people on this webinar. I will not be able to take every single question. But I'm gonna do my best if the guys didn't get those. But absolutely, I'm gonna do my best to get each and every question here with this. So taking action on all of these here. Let's see. JR says, cool, we can get signed up before the end of January. Thanks for the great webinar. Listen to a bunch of podcasts. Really appreciate what you do at MzeroA. JR, thank you so much for that, my friend. Let's see here. Chris, who is a online ground school member, asked a great question. Jason, my check ride's coming up. My question is, in the 172 that I'm training in, there is a placard that states, avoid slips with flaps extended. Do you think I will fail my check ride if on approach I do a forward slip with the flaps extended? Listen, if it is placarded in the airplane to not do it, please do not do it in front of your check ride examiner. Chris, we can talk about this maybe on the next online ground school webinar, because I don't want to monopolize everybody's time, because there's a ton of questions here. We'll do it in a much smaller environment. We can chat next Monday. We can get into the aerodynamic conversation about, is that an okay thing to do? But trust me, Chris, if it is placard, it says do not do this, and you do it, that's going to raise a problem with your check ride examiner, and you're going to have some explaining to do. Just my 2 cents on that. So don't do that. If I can get that. There he asks, hi, I'm a student pilot under 25 hours, haven't flown in 1.5 months. How can I use a simulator to be ready for my next lesson? There, this is why I and Private Pilot Blueprint readers and owners of that book will know what I'm talking about here. I'm such an advocate of getting a pre and post flight brief. So let's say you call up, you schedule your next lesson, say, can I get an idea of what I'm going to do next lesson? They say, yes, you're going to do steep turn, slow flight stalls. Thank you. Let's go. Let's sit in the simulator. Geez, let's just chair fly, steep turn, slow flight stalls. It's going to sound so silly, but sit in your comfy chair first and visualize it. It sounds so silly, but chair flying works. Then you can go do it in your simulator and work on those instrument scans and those flow checks and everything else from there. But figure out what you're doing first and then take it from there. That is what's going to be so important. Brian said, do you plan on creating programs for those who want to become a CFI? Absolutely, Brian. That's next on our bucket list. Speaking of that, aspiring commercial pilots like David, I see here. Someone said, by the way, link is not working. I'm sure Ashley is working on that now. Too much traffic probably crashed the old website. We have a ton of people on this webinar. You send a lot of people to one link, and I imagine it could have taken it down. So I apologize apparently it's a good problem to have, crashing your website. But anyways, I'm sure Ashley's working on that now. So do I plan on creating any other programs? Absolutely. CFI is next on the bucket list. Commercial pilot, there's quite a few commercial pilot videos in there now. And I would say by the end, if John, our director of video productions on this webinar, is going to kill me, I would say by the end of February, Commercial Pilot Ground School will be done, and I'm going to start working on the CFI Ground School, which I am so excited to do the CFI Ground School because I think there's so many problems with how individuals learn to teach. And I am just so, hopefully you can tell, one thing I pride myself in is being able to take difficult subjects and break them down into plain English is certainly a goal of mine with that. So I am so pumped about doing a CFI Ground School with that. So again, hopefully that link gets working here soon for that. Daniel said, what days will I be in Oshkosh? We'll be up there 2 days before and 2 days after. I don't know my seminar schedule yet up there, but we'll be at Oshkosh all that time. So looking forward to seeing all you guys on there. So continuing to read these. Jordan, do you think it's useful for student pilots to do some acrobatic training? Geez, absolutely. I don't know. Define student pilot for me. I mean, I'd call myself a student pilot, Jordan. Why? Because a good pilot's always learning. Ashley's telling me, says, tell them they need to be logged in for that ground school link to, if you want to go to groundschoolacademy.com/books, just a reminder, you need to be logged in for that URL to work. So you need to be a member, go to groundschoolacademy.com, become a member, and then go to groundschoolacademy.com/books. Once you're logged in, username, password, you're logged in, you're in the site, then go to that URL last after everything's transactions gone through everything else with that. So hopefully that helps, and hopefully the website's back up now. I'm not checking it right now, but I'm sure Ashley's feverishly working away on that. So do I think it's useful to do acrobatic training? Absolutely, but Jordan, I would wait until after you're a private pilot. Let's knock out the private pilot certificate first, and let's really go from there and kind of expand your horizons with doing some acro stuff, because where acro is really going to help you is actually getting ready to be an instrument pilot. As crazy as that sounds, learning like spatial disorientation and these sort of things is going to be so very important. By the way, it looks like groundschoolacademy.com, the site is back up. It's running a little bit slow. But again, I apologize for that. Again, apparently crashing a website is a good problem in the internet space, but with too much traffic, not when you're trying to get people there to do stuff. So Phil says, what is the difference between the boot camp and the ground school? So Phil, as a gold member, and Phil, you are a Pilots Inner Circle member. And by the way, Phil, you can upgrade at any time. And even if you just want to upgrade for a month, Phil, Ashley can do that. Just let us know. Your best bet, if you want I would do the boot camp and the ground school, become a gold member, and you get that because the ground school, yes, it'll help you with your written, but it's geared towards making a safe real-world pilot and prepping you for that check ride. The written test prep boot camp is geared towards specifically, Phil, the written test. I literally go through it question by question, say, Phil, this is a trick question here. Read this one real slow. Because they worded it this way, they're trying to trick you. So think of it this way. This is your answer, and most importantly, here's why. One thing I will never, ever do is just teach you rote memorization. I would never knock a competitor, but there are products out there that just teach you to memorize questions and answers. I will never do that. I will teach you, yes, I'll show you the correct answer, but I will always show you why, most importantly. I will always show you why. That's what I believe is so important to understand why. So that's that. Yes, this recording will be made available for anybody who hopped on late. I'll email it out tomorrow. I'll try to get it up tonight if it doesn't get too late by the end of this. You get old like me, guys. You start going to bed pretty early with that. Nathan asked about the commercial ground school. Hopefully that helped you out with that one. Nathan, that being said too, maybe jump in the end of January and there'll be a ton of commercial stuff in there by the end of January. I mean, we're shooting some amazing stuff lately. Actually, my mentor, I was just telling about Tim Broom in his airplane, a beautiful 182 RG. A lot of cool stuff happening with that. So, sharing some of these. Kurt says, low student hour, pilot 12 hours, been progressing on my landings in a Cessna 172. Last time out, I was ballooning almost every landing. I assume my transition, Kurt, virtual high five, beautiful buzzword there. Remember, we don't use the word flare, we use the word transition. It's pulling back on the yoke too quick. Any tips on how to avoid ballooning? So 2 things for ballooning. First off, what is your airspeed? Chances are you're coming in too fast and your input on that yoke is too much for that airspeed. Take those eyes down that runway and manage that airspeed better on final. Also, Kurt, this is going to sound totally counterintuitive, but Kurt, I bet you're probably coming in with 30 degrees of flaps, maybe 40 degrees of flaps. Kurt, I challenge you, next landing, land with 20 degrees of flaps and see what that does for you. Just try it. I might be a little crazy. You might come in a hair bit faster, but it's going to cause you to manage your airspeed better because you'll have less drag to help you out and get you out of a jam there. It'll force you to be a better pilot. Remember, aircraft, when they were first built, didn't have flaps. A Piper Cub doesn't have flaps. Flaps are a luxury, and a lot of times we overuse them. Sometimes land with 20 degrees of flaps and see if that helps you out, my friend. David A. said, website up and working now. Thank you, sir. Again, sorry for that. Again, good problem to have, apparently. Tom, do I cover G1000 and Avidyne panels? Tom, for instrument pilot, I cover G1000. I don't get into G1000 for the private pilot stuff, but if you're talking instrument pilot, I actually this is how the instrument pilot ground school is set up, and this video will be done over this weekend. I shot an ILS with steam gauges. I then went and shot an ILS with G1000. I shot a GPS approach, and I show you all these approaches on steam gauges and G1000, and really you should watch both steam gauge and G1000 because different radio communications, different approaches, and it benefits you all around with that. But I am so proud of our ILS and our GPS videos for G1000 in the Instrument Pilot Ground School. Tom, the ILS video was down to minimums. It was incredible. Matt, who's on this call, and I actually did it, and you will be highly impressed, my friend. I guarantee there's nothing like it on the on the market. So it is very, very cool stuff. I guarantee it. Oh, my buddy Darlene. Darlene, good to see you. Can I share the things I learned in tonight's webinar in my next EAA chapter newsletter? I'll give credit to you at MzeroA.com. Absolutely. I see Ashley just replied to you there as well. Darlene, I'll do you one better. Wait till this recording is up, Darlene. I'm going to email it out tomorrow morning, so watch for that. And just take the link and directly just paste the link to the video in your newsletter for EAA. Absolutely. Darlene, that being said too, and this goes for anybody, guys, if you think your EAA chapter, your IMC club, your aviation organization, your flying club would benefit from a screening of the movie Flying Again, let's talk about that as well. Shoot me an email or just hit the support desk on MzeroA.com or the groundschoolacademy.com site. Hit the support desk and one of the team members will handle it. But let's set up a screening for your chapter. Have a fun movie night. Get everybody out at the airport. Like, what a cool way to keep everybody engaged. So let's talk about that as well, Darlene. I'm open to making it happen. I can't promise I'll be there for it because we just have so many booked. And as a new father, I need to make sure I commit just as much to my family time. But I can certainly set you up and get everything going for you with that. We'll grab another sip of tea here. James H. talking about flight sim stuff. I use X-Plane for everything. X-Plane is amazing. Let's see. Yeah, X-Plane is wonderful. Willie brought up a great point. Make sure everybody's aware of their PTS. And Willie, you and I both know this, soon to be ACS, Airman Certification Standards. It's so tough sometimes when you work with, we deal with it all the time in the ground school. Well, gosh, we just had a guy the other day, and I apologize if you're on this webinar. I don't remember your name, so I can't embarrass you. But a gentleman just became a ground school member and said, I became a member, I have 50 hours, and I didn't know there was a written test. And Ashley and I both looked at each other like, I wish we could have got to this guy sooner. I mean, 50 hours and didn't know if there's a written test. At 50 hours, I would hope we were at least talking about a check ride in the near future. You should be doing your cross countries at 50 hours. I mean, holy smokes, what was this instructor doing? So Willie, just emphasizing your point there with what you're talking about with that. So Carrie says, thanks so much for your great books. I bought from MzeroA. I suffer from ground jitters or anxiety before I fly. I feel very confident in my skills, but I still suffer when I'm alone or the only pilot in the plane. I have 140 hours, private pilot. Usually I feel great once I'm up there, especially when heading back. Please give some advice. I see Larry or somebody just typed some advice to you. Probably Larry, if I had to guess. Carrie, if you're not already a Pilot's Inner Circle member, that would benefit you greatly. Just being around these guys and gals is huge. But you've got to, I've shared this before. There's a difference between confidence and cockiness. And I absolutely know you don't have cockiness, but we need to develop some confidence. And how can we do that? Geez, these 5 things we shared tonight, let Larry and I help mentor you through this process here. Let us be those expert mentors for you. Read a METAR every day. Create that proficiency syllabus for yourself. Learn everything you can on the ground. Experience that weather. These are the things that I want you to knock out. Just being here tonight, Carrie, is huge. We've got to build that confidence. In your proficiency syllabus that you're going to make each month, challenge yourself to fly to a new airport. Shut down the airplane, get out, go to the restaurant, enjoy flying. See, when you learn to enjoy flying and you fly well above your personal minimums, you're A-okay. Your hard set personal minimum should be so high. You should just be what I call a clear in 10 kind of person. Not a cloud in the sky and unlimited visibility. Those are the days I fly. Those are great people, Carrie. And there's not going to be a lot of those days, but when you find them, embrace them and go flying on those days. You've got to build confidence slowly. I'm not asking you to do literally a cross country across the country, but let's build up slowly and start doing some great, safe flights. That is what's so very important with that. So holy smokes, there are just I'm reading questions that came in at like 9 o'clock, 9:50. So, and here it's 10, 10 something, 10:05. So I'm like way behind on questions. So I'm just kind of picking and choosing through here. If I miss your question, please don't be offended. Or if Larry or Matt or Ashley miss your question, please don't be offended. I'm doing my best to get to all these. If it is, you're squawking 7700 over there, it is a must answer question. Shoot us an email. If you're a ground school member, you got the office number, call us in the morning or reach out to us in the morning via our support ticket little bit, and we'll get you in there. Again, for those of you jumping on late, this will be available to you. The recording will. So we have that. Alexis, I just got that alert. That's funny. Drew says, how different are our FAA tests compared to the tests in Canada? So they're similar, but we have a large international presence. I mean, Ashley could pull the exact numbers, but about 25 to 30% of our members are international. We do a lot in Europe. We do a lot in Canada, or we do a lot in Australia. We're actually going over, for those of you, by the way, if you're, gosh, it's really late in Europe, so I apologize for that. But we're going to Aero Expo UK this year. So, we're expanding international. We've got a big presence out there. So we're going to London's version of Oshkosh, essentially, is what we're going to this year. It'll be very cool in July. So our testing stuff does work over there, obviously, because the principle, Drew, of flying an airplane doesn't change. Aerodynamics doesn't change. What changes, Drew, is the rules and regulations. So you can take all 12 modules of it for what it is. It's awesome, but there's one module on rules and regulations where I would sit down with your CFI and go over those and go, okay, what's different between FAA and JAA or CAA or whatever you're working on, or Transport Canada, whatever it may be, and work through those. Lloyd said, where can I watch the movie? In San Antonio. I don't know if I have a San Antonio date up yet. I have a Houston stuff up, but more dates will become, more locations will be coming. Lloyd, flyingagainmovie.com to buy a DVD or Blu-ray in the meantime to check that out. So that's cool. Alexander said, thanks from Colombia. There's that international presence again. Thanks, Alexander. Have a great night, my friend. Continuing to read all of these. James said, just enrolled in PIC, got the books. Thanks for all you do. Wish I knew about this last year. Well, James, we are blessed and thankful to have you on board. We'll see you Monday night for your first webinar as a member, my friend. Very excited to have you guys on board. East Coast guys, I know it's getting a little bit late for you if you have to jet. I totally understand. But again, groundschoolacademy.com. Get signed up, become a member. Those books are there for you guys to check that out. So just beautiful stuff. Robert says, my CFI just got his certification recently. Should I stick with him because they all need to start somewhere? So Robert, listen, you're right. Everybody needs to start somewhere. I had a first student once. Somebody's got to be that guinea pig. Robert, it is going to take a little bit more work on your part. Robert, it's going to take maybe you being involved in a ground school with us and learning a little bit above and beyond, because as your CFI is going to be learning along with you as he or she learns to teach. And Robert, it's going to be that much more for you. Now, Robert, obviously you're a go-getter. You're on this webinar. So I think you'll have no problem being willing to go outside the box and find some outside sources to learn all you can to be that safer, smarter pilot and live out that good pilot is always learning mantra. And I don't believe you'll have a problem doing that. So that is something, if you're willing to do it, absolutely. Austin says, thank you from the Central Florida Flying Club. Austin, I'm excited to be making my way down there sometime in the near future. I believe Jamie and Jim are working on getting us down there for a Flying Again showing sometime in the near future. Matt said, what is a reasonable hourly rate for a 172? Depends if it's G1000 or not. I've seen as high as $200 an hour. I've seen as cheap as 140 an hour. It really depends on your location. California is way more expensive than, say, Kansas. So it really depends on that, Matt. A better example would be, Matt, what what's the airplane equipped with? Does that include an instructor? And where you based at would help a little bit more on that too. Devin, thanks for joining. So glad to see you on board. Keith says, when is the Good Pilot Tour coming to Atlanta again? Atlanta will be one of our first stops. Keith, so excited to see you and the family again, I hope, and the rest of the Delta gang. I don't know an exact date, Keith, because I need to see if I'm doing a seminar or a movie in Atlanta or both. I think I'm doing both, but I'm not totally sure. So, Keith, maybe you could help in coordinating that a little bit as well. Maybe, you know, because we did it at the Holiday Inn last time, maybe you know a better location, better airport, has a more general aviation. I mean, we had a good showing, though. We had 50 people there or so. So, maybe you could email me that, Keith, with some advice on that, since those are your stomping grounds. Reading some of these. Rick said, can you please explain the written boot camp part of the gold membership? Does it apply to IFR written? So absolutely. So like I was talking to Phil earlier with Rick, Ground School is going to get you through written, check ride, and real world pilot. I have found, and everyone on this webinar, I imagine, would agree, that a better score on your written makes the check ride that much easier. So we stepped up a notch, said, yes, our Ground School will prep you for the written, for the check ride, and most importantly, to be a safe real world pilot. But to help check all those boxes, I'm releasing 12 specific, or for instrument pilots, 3 specific written test videos. They're 3 like hour-long videos. They're webinar style like this too for the instrument. Actually, maybe it's 4 for instrument. And they're very specific that say, this is for your written test. So really to take you above and beyond for the written test. It's the kind of thing you would do, Rick, like, okay, I'm taking my written test in 2 weeks. I'm going to go through Jason's boot camp videos because they're geared specifically to that written test. It's just the icing on the cake, my friend, to make it that much better for you, because you may have only got an 80. Well, watching those videos is going to make you get a 90 on the written test. You know what I mean? It's just to bump you up one more notch with that. Brian says, coming up to Plymouth for a showing. I would love to. Again, Brian, listen, you guys have the venues or anything like that, I'm more than happy to do that. Just go to the support, go to MzeroA.com, hit ask a question, and just type in, hey, Jason, I got a great venue, got a great group of guys and gals out here. If you can help market it, we can help market it. It's a win-win, and we can do that. So that's what I would go about there. Hey, Tobias, what is your name of your flying club in Denver? It's not the Aspen Flying Club, is it? I just saw you typed in about your flying club in Denver. That's the flying club that helped out with our movie a little bit. I don't know if that was the one at Centennial, if you were involved with that. I mean, maybe if you were, I don't know if I knew that or not. It rings a bell. But yeah, the diamond that's in the movie is on with the Aspen Flying Club. It's actually on the cover of the DVD. So that really, really cool place. Love that. I'm trying to get some DVDs displayed when you first walk in there. What a cool place. I can't remember the guy's name I met. I think his name was Chris, the one of the owners. I think I met him there. Denton says, should I get concerned if I'm still in the pattern at 20 hours and the last 4 lessons? No, Denton, you shouldn't be. Denton, refresh my memory. I don't believe you soloed yet. Usually, Denton, in the pattern at 20 hours and your last 4 lessons have been in the pattern, that's a polite way of that CFI saying, hey, Denton, I'm about to get out of this airplane and you're about to solo, my friend. So that's nothing to be worried about unless you're worried about soloing, which you shouldn't be. You are ready to kick butt on that, my friend. Juan says, any advice for commercial pilots looking for a CFI certificate? Juan, if you can hold out, we'll be working on a CFI Ground School here, end of quarter 1, beginning of quarter 2 here at MzeroA.com. Juan, we have an awesome CFI podcast. If you go to iTunes and search MzeroA or search CFI podcast, you will find it there. And we offer some great tips on not only how to be an excellent teacher, but we talk about the business side of aviation and being a CFI. Some really great advice there for you. So that's that. Let's see. I'm going to grab another sip of my tea here. Let me look. Cool, Rick. That sounds excellent, my friend. Look forward to having you back in there, my friend. Charlie says, commercial pilot land seat 1,000+ hours. Needs to pass that IFR check ride. Whew. You should have no problem with that, my friend. Instrument with that much time that you've racked up, especially flying seaplanes, everything. The hardest part is not flying the airplane. You already know how to do that. The hardest part is getting that knowledge in your head. That's where something like the Instrument Pilot Ground School Gold membership would help you so much, even if you just hopped in there for a month or two. And the reason, by the way, it's a monthly subscription is because that mentorship comes with it, because you get the webinars with us, because we're always updating videos. Someone like Rick. Rick, you were in the ground school. I can't remember how long ago, Rick, but Rick, you're going to pop back in the ground school and it's going to look like a different place because literally I just reshot all the private pilot videos, all the instrument pilot videos. There's so much great new content in there. It's going to look like a new ground school for you guys. And the commercial pilot videos are even sweeter as those start trickling in. So that is going to be wonderful. Charlie, Matt's going to be your guy to talk about being out there at Denellen. So he'll get you hooked up with that. But I would say I know he's booked out until at least April, May timeframe for talking about that sort of stuff. So, James B says, out of curiosity, why is it you never say much about sport pilot? So the reason it's not that I never say much about sport pilot. We have a lot of sport pilots in our online ground school. Here's my concern. And I'm being optimistic, when third class medical reform happens, what happens to sport pilot? Does sport pilot still exist? Probably. It has to still exist. But does it become kind of like what recreational pilot is now, where last year, 6 people became recreation pilots? It's just that everyone will just transfer and become private pilots. So I've just kind of made it's not, I have nothing against sport pilots. We have a ton of them in our ground school because, again, the only difference is a few limitations and privileges. Flying an airplane stays the same. So it's not that I have anything against sport pilots, just trying to be an astute businessman as well and saying, okay, what's going to happen to sport pilot, which has had a huge success over the past 10 years. But when medical reform happens, it's going to make more sense for people just to become private pilots. You know what I mean with that? So that's my thought. I could be totally wrong, and I'm willing to admit I could be totally wrong. That's my thought process. So that is what I'm thinking with that. Steve B, any advice for a VFR pilot who was idle for 27 years and just became current this past September? Steve, you're on this webinar. You are awesome, first and foremost, with that. Knock out and take action on these 5 things. Steve, if the wallet allows and you can afford the $27 a month, I would love to have you in the Pilots Inner Circle membership. Imagine getting a chance to do a webinar like this every Monday night and hanging out with Larry, Matt, myself, and Ashley and the team here and keeping up with these weekly teachings and letting us be your accountability partners with those sort of things, my friend. That is what's going to be huge for you if the wallet allows it. If not, spend that money on flying instead. It's that important. So that's my advice to you with that. Guys, I am going to take 3 more questions. Again, there are a ton of questions. I apologize. But you got to remember, I am an old married man with a 14-month-old baby, so I can't be up too terribly late. I have to get to bed myself as well. And again, any questions I miss, if it is like life or death, you're squawking 7700, Jason, I need you to answer this question. Go to MzeroA.com, click Ask a Question, and if I don't get the question, one of our great team members here will get that question for you. We are here for you guys. So listen, I'm going to take 3 more questions and then I'm going to sign off. So this is your chance. If I missed it, maybe copy and paste or type your question again. I'm going to pick 3 more kind of randomly out of the hat because there's a ton to choose from. So let's go through here. I'll take this one because I have a story behind this one. Joxen asked, Jason, have I ever had a engine failure situation? I had a partial engine failure on takeoff, of all times to have a sort of engine failure. It was in 512 Romeo. For those of you who've been following MzeroA.com for quite some time, that was the original airplane that will be in the MzeroA.com museum one day, kind of like Papa John bought back his old car one day. I'm going to buy back 512 Romeo one day. I sold it to my mechanic, so it won't be too hard to buy it back. I was on takeoff at Denell and I was by myself, thank goodness. I took off and the airplane started making a horrendous sound. I was at full RPM. I dropped to about 17 to 1800 RPMs, and the engine was just, I lost a cylinder is what happened. So it's a 4-cylinder airplane. Imagine only hitting on 3 cylinders. Imagine what that sounded like. I was about 700 feet. I wasn't able to climb, but I was able to maintain altitude. So I kept the throttle at full. I leveled off. I radioed my issue that I was coming straight back. Didn't have time to squawk anything or do anything other than say, Denellen area traffic, 512 Romeo, coming back. And made a lap around the pattern. People that were in the pattern got out of my way, made a real tight pattern, brought it back down. And I kid you not, there was a row of about 30 people. Anybody who was at the airport came out because said, Jason, I have never heard an airplane make such a horrendous noise before. And I landed, and literally, like, the engine was smoking, everything else. There was oil everywhere. It was quite the experience. And it's one of those things you train for. It wasn't a full engine failure, thank goodness. But throwing a cylinder is no joy either. And that was my last flight in 512 Romeo. At that point, I said, mechanic said, listen, I'll be interested in buying it, making it a fun project. He's overhauling the whole engine right now. So that was certainly a little bit scary. That was over 2-3 years ago now, even more. But that is my my engine failure on takeoff story. So certainly interesting with that. Michael B, I won't count this as one of the questions. He asked, just joined PIC, how do I get the books? Once you're logged in, so make sure, Michael, you've typed in your username, you've typed in your password, you are logged into the website. You can see the Pilots Inner Circle stuff, or the ground school stuff, depending on what level you signed up for. Go to groundschoolacademy.com/books. That URL right there. You've got to be logged in. Obviously, if you're not a member, it'll say, sorry, you can't access this page. But when you're a member, you can log in and access that. Keith asked the question, I'm ready to start school, trying to get grants, loans. What can you tell me to get started as soon as I can? Grants and loans are one way to go about it. AOPA just announced they're doing flight training financing. Google AOPA flight training financing. Also, search for this. Carl Valeri, C-A-R-L, Valeri, V-A-L-E-R-I, Aviation Scholarships. That man publishes more aviation. It's a paid book. You got to pay like $10, but trust me, it's worth it. It's got like 400 pages of scholarships that you can earn in there. So that's that. By the way, I almost forgot. Matt, can you please post the link in the chat of this? By the way, Matt is posting a link in the chat. It is a big file. It's like 60 megabytes because it's all high-res stuff of all these slides, as well as the MzeroA.com catalog, as well as your 5 actionable items for those of you who stuck around for this. Matt, you can go ahead and post that link now to everybody. It will be in your GoToWebinar chat. Guys, there it is now. It's a Dropbox link. I will also make that link available. I'll email it to you as well, probably tomorrow morning. So you can have that as well. That is the 5 actionable items, my 5 challenges to you. It's the slides from this presentation, as well as the MzeroA.com catalog. So if you want to read more about the ground school, read more about each book individually, think about it, pray about it, whatever you got to do, it's in there for you guys. So you can take action on that. You can download that to your iPad, print it out, and just look at it on your browser or whatever you want to do. So that's in the chat for you guys to check that out. Again, for the scholarships, Carl Valeri, V-A-L-E-R-I, I want to say. If you Google that, Carl Valeri, Aviation Scholarships, it will come right up. He is a great, great guy with that. Taking some more questions here. Let me see which ones. JB's questions. Any recommendations for a 13-year-old interested in becoming a pilot? Privatepilotblueprint.com, my friend. That is my free book. Gave out over 5,000 of them last year to individuals just like yourself. All I ask is that you pay shipping. It's like $6. I'll ship you one. You'll have it there. You order it tonight. I'll have it to you by Monday. I guarantee it. Privatepilotblueprint.com. It's everything I wish someone would have told me before I started my flight training. By the way, JB, I started my first flight lesson when I was 12 years old, my friend. So you are in great company, and you could have an amazing career in aviation ahead of yourself if you really truly started at 13 years of age. Privatepilotblueprint.com is your first action step with that, JB. Last question. Let's see what it is I want to take. I'm going to take Scott's question, but this one's not going to count because this is a product question. Scott says, "What sets your online ground school apart from others? What if his school pushes a product like King or Jeppesen or Gleim or something like that?" Listen, first off, I am friends with John and Martha King. I am friends with all these sporties, all these guys who publish all these stuff, because we all have the same goal, which is to create safer, smarter pilots. We all teach the same standards, so the practical test standards and the airman certification standards. I will never in a million years talk bad or down to a competitor. I learned using King Schools. It is a good product. I will never talk bad about any competitor. In fact, I truly do not believe in competition, because if aviation wins, we all win. And I'm not just some talking head saying that. I truly mean it and believe it. But here's what sets us apart. All our ground school videos are broken down into plain conversational English. Scott, if you learned something tonight, if you learned something from our YouTube videos, that is a great indication that you're going to learn something. My teaching style is not for everybody. I talk very fast. I can be a little bit hyper, a little bit excited sometimes, but sometimes that's what people need. If I'm too much for you, you're not going to like the ground school. I can tell you that right now. I try to break everything into plain English and break it into, this is for your written test, this is for your check ride. Most importantly, this is for being a safe, real world pilot. Secondly, you get the mentorship, and no other course will you get that kind of mentorship. No other course will you be able to call up and talk with Jason directly, talk with Matt, talk with Larry, talk with the team here of our great CFIs at MzeroA.com. It won't happen anywhere else. We are a small company of just 7, and we are a mom and pop type company. You will always get the same person. We're not some big conglomerate where you'll get a different person each and every time. We do a lot for 7 people. In fact, most of you would have probably thought we were bigger than that until I told you we only had 7 people. Because we do a lot with a small payroll. We are very, very blessed to have an awesome team on staff here at MzeroA.com. So you get that aspect of it. And lastly, you get the webinars. If you're a gold member, every Monday night, without fail, I will be there doing a webinar. And we're even stepping those up a notch in 2016 as well, to offer more webinars and a different medium, which I don't want to reveal a whole lot on just yet, because that's coming probably the beginning of Q2, quarter 2 of 2016. So Scott, if in a nutshell, that's it. You will not find anyone else with more passion and drive than myself and the team here at MzeroA.com. And hopefully you can tell that all came from the heart, my friend. Let's see. Troy, if you want to send it again, I'll try to take that question. If not, email it to me, Troy. I apologize for that. Again, you got to remember, 1,000 people on a webinar, all asking questions, and it's just like, I need to come up with a better system probably if we continue to grow like this. Harold, your question is for Larry, but I believe Larry hopped off about type 2 diabetes. Email us, go to MzeroA.com, hit ask a question, and type in your question there. I will get Larry to answer that question. I don't know it personally, but Larry knows it there. So that's that. And Troy, again, I apologize so much, my friend. Let's see. I'm gonna pick a good one here. Let's see. All right, I am going to take Sean's question. We're wrapping this thing up, guys. Sean says, does the FAA written endorsement expire? Crazy enough, it does not expire, as silly as that sounds. By the way, if you're an online ground school member, remember, I can endorse you and will endorse you. In fact, I automatically endorse you when you score above an 85 in the boot camp. That written test prep boot camp will automatically trigger an endorsement for you. You can take it to anywhere, any testing center, and take action on that. So there's that for you. So pretty cool stuff like that. That does not expire. So that being said, you don't even need a CFI yet. Maybe you want to live out that good pilot is always learning, take those action steps like I talk about in the private pilot blueprint and do a ground school first. You don't even have to have a CFI yet. I can be your virtual CFI and endorse you for this. And then, geez, I can even refer you to a great real CFI, real as in to actually go do your flight training with when that time comes as well. So it's a great win-win. Listen, guys, again, I apologize. We're maxed out with people on this webinar, and I apologize if I wasn't able to get your question. Send it. Go to MzeroA.com, hit ask a question, type in your question there. We'll get to it in the morning, maybe this evening, depending on how late Matt and the guys stay up taking those questions. GroundSchoolAcademy.com, like you see there, to check that out. Become a member, guys. January 31st, I'm taking this offer down, and I will not offer it again in 2016. This is your chance to get over $300 worth of books and audiobooks, completely free, no strings attached. So those are there for you guys. If you became a member, I am so excited. I'll be chatting with you again on Monday. Very excited about that. Also, we're doing more webinars, more free webinars the entire month of January. Undergroundaviationseminar.com to get signed up. Next week, I'm doing a mock private pilot check ride and a mock instrument and commercial pilot check ride. Larry's doing an aviation medical check ride in 2 weeks. And then I'm doing like a new to aviation, where do I get started type webinar at the end of the month. So undergroundaviationseminar.com. I'll be emailing you that so you can check that out. But undergroundaviationseminar.com to get signed up for the other webinars. If you loved this webinar, you're going to really love those future webinars. So listen, guys, thanks so much for all that you guys do. Thanks so much for being such a blessing to myself, my beautiful wife, Ashley, our gorgeous daughter, Ella, this great team here at MzeroA.com. If there's anything at all we can do this week to help make you a safer, smarter pilot, please, please, please don't hesitate to reach out. Guys, enjoy the rest of your evening. And most importantly, remember that a good pilot is always learning. Have a great night, guys. See ya.